housekeeping? Here we go.
Just one quick, just 1, 2. Thank you, Ajahn. Just one quick reminder, please. Some of you may have used your phones at the lunch break, so if you could just double check now that your phone is switched off or in airplane mode. Thank you, that would be appreciated. And also, if you want to earn some merit, there are some black plastic bags, garbage bags, just by the wooden doors there leading into the Vihara, if you would like to take one home with you.
Full, that's not just a bag.
Yeah, full of rubbish. Thank you very much.
Very good. Excellent. It's just 3 questions here, so I'll deal with them first of all, and then afterwards we'll do some meditation. The question here, I hear that meditating places, even a small place in a bedroom where you practice meditation, creates energy. Also, I've heard that the energy needs to be softened. Can you please comment or explain this? Or there is, if you meditate in a place very regularly, or other people have meditated there regularly, and it's got a good, many good people have been there, it does create sort of a sense of energy. And there are places in this world where, if ever I go to meditate there, it's just so easy to meditate. And places just like where the Buddha lived in India, the Vulture's Peak, in other places where there's been great meditation happen before you go sit there, and it's easy to get deep in meditation. But if you find a place in your own house or home somewhere where you can meditate regularly, after a while it does build up some atmosphere. And because it builds up that atmosphere, then you can meditate there and get very, very, very peaceful. To soften it, it's important to soften everything. So make sure that you soften your cushion. Make sure you soften your tummy, and soften your attitude, and soften your heart. And what happens there is, after a while, those places get very beautiful, deep energy. It's wonderful. So you can experience that. What was that story that one of the people I told this to, a couple of Aussies, they went over, they made a nice little meditation place for themselves under the stairs, in the little cupboard. And then one day, they used to meditate there. They didn't allow their children to meditate there, so they thought. But then one day, their children, about 5 or 3-year-old, they had an argument. I don't know, maybe it must be 6 and 4 or something. Had an argument, and the first time in life, the little daughter of age, her elder brother hit her. And it was like the emotional shock rather than any other feeling. And she started bursting out crying, and she ran into the house and under the stairs to the meditation place, where she sat down and meditated, simply because it was one place where she thought she could have some peace, some safety, some happiness. Even the kids realized that that was a very beautiful place to be. So when you develop a place in the house for meditation, it's so easy to meditate there. Next question. I had an overwhelming sense of sadness during my last meditation. No joy at the completion, just unhappiness. What am I doing wrong? Nothing wrong. It's just, you just finished the meditation. Oh, something beautiful has ended. That's always very, very sad. It ended too soon. That's why people used to tell me, they took pictures of all these people going on these meditation retreats. They're very like the boot camp meditation retreats. And they took a photograph, and everyone was smiling at the end of the retreat. And I said, look, just what meditation has done for them. They're smiling. I said, they're not smiling just because they've had great meditations. They're smiling because today they can go home and have dinner and relax and sleep in the morning. So if you take a picture during a meditation retreat, it should be in the middle of the retreat, not at the end. And so sometimes you get sadness. Sometimes sadness is because you may have been repressing something for some time, And then sort of during the meditation, because you're letting go, you're letting things actually come up. And sometimes it may be some sadness. There was a guy on one of my retreats, and in the middle of the retreat, he came to see me, emergency interview, because he started crying during the retreat. And he didn't know why. And so I asked him, for once I asked him the correct question. I said, well, why? When was the last time you meditated? Sorry, when was the last time you cried? I asked him. He went quiet. He was about in his 40s. He said, when I was a young boy, about 11 or 12. Because my father told me that Aussie boys don't cry. And he hadn't cried for about 30 years. And I told him, mate, you've got a lot of crying to catch up on. And he did. He cried and cried and cried and cried and cried throughout the retreat. And, he was a single man, and you wouldn't believe the number of girls who went up to him afterwards, oh, are you okay? So, if any single men here want to make it out with the girls, start crying, and then, whoa. Anyway, is teaching mindfulness to little kids effective? It depends how little they are. And that's why you can always be innovative. I once taught delusion to a group of little kids. The first factor of the dependent origination, avijja. Is that supposed to be deep? But I went to this school, and I didn't realise what school I was going to. It was a primary school, grade 1 and grade 2. And the whole class, about 60 children, two classes, were in the class, and I had to teach them something about Buddhism. What can I teach them? So I innovative. I only tell the stories where it actually works. The stories where it doesn't work, I never tell anybody. But this one was really successful. So I told this class of kids, I say, put your hands up if you do not like rice pudding. If you don't like rice pudding. And about 3 or 4 kids put their hands up. And you can see all the other kids, boys and girls, looking around, and a couple more put their hands up, and a few more put their hand up. And then the whole class, 2 classes, they all had their hand up. They decided they did not like rice pudding. Okay, put your hands down. Now, please put your hands up again if you've ever eaten rice pudding. And the kids got it straight away. They started laughing. That's how you teach little Dhamma to little kids. They realized that they were making decisions and judgments about things they never even know about, which is called delusion, avijja, ignorance. So sometimes you can be innovative, and you can teach little kids. But you don't teach little kids, okay, sit down, close your eyes, and watch your breath. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. But there's one way which I did teach the kids, and I mentioned it a few days ago here, and it's a nice introduction to actually doing a meditation here. And it was Buddhanusati, remembering the Buddha, and this is how it's done. A little, very skillful introduction to how to meditate for the big children sitting here in front of me. So if you'd like to get yourselves comfortable, it's going to lead into about a half an hour meditation. I know I've only got 2 hours this afternoon, so I don't want to do too much talking. So I started this off with kids, and then some adults were there and said, that really worked for me. So can I teach that to big kids? So here we go. So you're sitting down. Close your eyes. And make yourself comfortable. With your awareness, make sure your legs are in the correct position. So ask your legs, how are you? Do you need adjusting? And take this seriously. Don't assume your legs are in the right place. If you're sitting on a chair, sometimes you need to tuck your feet in underneath the chair, sometimes push them out, sometimes separate them. Find the most comfortable position for your legs. Because chairs are usually all the same height, sometimes tall people need to put a cushion underneath their bottom when they're sitting on the chair. Shorter people put a cushion underneath their feet when they're sitting on a chair, thereby adjusting the height so it's comfortable. And once the legs are comfortable, then we check the bottom, make sure that's comfortable. Fidget now and be peaceful afterwards. And pay attention to your back, be mindful of it, and see if you can make the bed back a little bit more comfortable. And then relax the shoulders, like imagining the bundles of strings stretched apart, and you let them go, so they become loose with no strain on them. And then check your position of your hands. This is mindfulness together with kindness, aware and caring for these parts of the body, so you can put them in such a position that they can be comfortable for the next half hour. And then move attention up to your neck and throat. Trying to bring comfort. And then from the neck up to your head and your face. Feeling any tightness and tension in the muscles. And learning through awareness plus trial and error how to relax those muscles. And once the whole body has been looked at part by part, then we imagine our body as a whole, as a unit, sitting here, relaxed as much as we can. Until we feel the delight of relaxation. Maybe the same feeling when you're on a holiday, you're on a recliner by the beach, or you've just had a hot bath. Muscles all at ease. And then I begin the kids' meditation. I imagine, use my powers of visualization, which are very strong in children. I imagine that I'm the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya 25 centuries ago. Just freshly enlightened. I have nothing to do, nothing more to achieve. All goals have been fulfilled. The long journey has been completed. I'm sitting here, peace at last. Everything is perfect. Nothing needs improving. There's no ill will left. Everything has its place. Even the crooked trees have their place in the forest. Imagine sitting under the Bodhi tree with a cool wind just blowing over one's face, with silence in the quiet park-like garden next to the river. Sometimes, like, you can imagine the cars to be like the river rushing over the rocks. And it's peaceful. And it's still. And you don't have to achieve anything. All goals have already been achieved. You're just sitting at peace like a person really has retired from the world. Nothing more, nothing more to do. Nothing more to gain. Her peace, still, content, like the mind of a freshly enlightened Buddha. Imagine what it must have been like. See if you can feel it, imagine it. Actors can sometimes imagine their part so well. It's like they become that part. You see if you can imagine the peace, the contentment, the satisfaction of someone who's enlightened. Peace at last. So content, you don't want anything in the whole world. Emotionally, how does that feel? Don't analyze it with intellect. Feel it with your emotions. The emotion of deep equanimity, peace, and happiness. Nothing missing, nothing excess. And the mind balanced. I will now be quiet until the end of the half hour. do you feel right now? How did that imagination, visualization of being enlightened at the beginning set the scene and give you an emotional idea of what meditation is? Feeling peace, being satisfied, not wanting anything in the whole world. I'll now ring the gong. And of course, the reason why that towards the end of the meditation, 1 or 2 minutes before, I just prepare you coming close to the end of the meditation is, again, personal experiences. Sometimes you're getting really peaceful in meditation, so still, really just so happy, and then suddenly, bang! And it was like pouring sort of hot water into a cold glass. Ooh. So, I'd rather not ring the gong, but have to just alert people that the meditation is coming to an end. But try to do it with a way where you let people give some warning first of all, which is helpful. So that was using an imagination to get you to start feeling what it's like to be peaceful. It's almost like jump-starting, getting ahead very quickly. But as soon as I started that, I realized actually that was not the kids' meditation I was referring to. But nevertheless, it was good. I thought, no, I'm not going to stop this, I'm going to indulge. Because the kids' meditation, which I found, you can develop your own kids' meditation, was over in Perth. Some kids, they wanted to meditate. They're about 7, 8, 9 years of age. And I asked them again to use imagination. And I repeated this when I was in Singapore. They wanted to have kids doing meditation with me, but the parents were there. And I told them, this is how I teach the kids. And I got the kids to close your eyes. Now imagine you're really relaxed. And imagine you're floating out of your body and flying above the houses in Singapore, flying over the city, over into the ocean, to your own little private spot, in your own little private island. No one else can go there, only you. And you land so softly on the warm, silky sand. And you're sitting under this beautiful palm tree, keeping you cool. And a soft wind is blowing over the ocean. Not too hot, not too cold. And the sea is calm. There's a few ripples on the ocean. As the ocean ripples, they just come up the beach and recede away again. And there's no one to disturb you at all there. Parents and teachers are not allowed on that island. It's your it's your special place. And you're sitting there, and there's a nice drink of like coconut water, if you want coconut water, or orange juice. It's just there. You just lift up your hand, and it's just there. You can take a drink, but you don't really need to drink very much, because it's so relaxing and so peaceful. And maybe you can see a dolphin just playing close to you, just saying hello, and a beautiful white seagull just drifting in the breeze, just to entertain you. And there's nothing which is missing there. There's no little brothers and sisters to annoy you. This is your private, special place. And you're sitting there nice and peaceful. And I spend much more time describing it in the guided meditation. Now it's time for you to come back. So say goodbye to your friend, the little dolphin. Say goodbye to the seagull. And then imagine just rising up above the warm, comfortable sand, flying up and over the ocean, over the beach, over the houses, and back into this room. And you're back again with your friends. And now open your eyes. When I did that with the kids, they loved it. Because, again, it was not intellectual, it was more emotional, feely. And number two, when I was doing that, because the parents had to be there, they really got into it more than the kids did. They say, watching the breath, forget it. Sweeping the body, yeah, be there, but just my own little private island, and you can imagine it just what you like. Just, for me, instead of like a nice little coconut milk, it would be a nice cup of tea. Beautiful. Just the right amounts of tea and sweetener. Custom made. And then you find the kids love that. And you do that for them a few times, and soon they can do it by themselves. Because the kids' imagination is great. And that imagination is very powerful. And it's the imagination which sets up the mind to go in a certain direction. So I don't know how many of you enjoyed also imagining you're a Buddha. That has even deeper power, because many of you know a Buddha has no craving left, no ill will, totally free. And you just imagine that, imagine what it must be like being a Buddha. And when you can imagine that, it's like you're almost there. You're almost like, a person without any wanting. You get a taste of it, and it's just so delightful. The mind gets attracted to that, and you get peaceful, and you go even further and deeper into peacefulness. So just some nice little techniques of how to meditate, especially the easy ways. Instead of just watching the breath go in, go out, watching the breath go in, go out. Have you ever noticed by, say, watching the breath, that sometimes what happens is your mind wanders off? What are you told? Bring the mind back. Then it wanders off again, bring it back. Wanders off again, bring it back. And after about 5 or 6 years of that, bring it back. Bring it back. What's going on? It's not working. And then, so as a good meditator, you don't just follow instructions. You ask why. Why does my mind not want to stay with my breathing? Why does it keep wandering off? I bring it back, I don't scold it, and then it wanders off again. Why is the mind restless? And soon the answer became so clear. It's because me and my breath had a very bad relationship. I always try to control my breath. Breath, you go in, now you come out. And mind, you watch that breath. I was a control freak. And I developed the simile of getting a phone call from your friend, maybe on a Sunday afternoon, or Saturday afternoon, I don't know. And your friend says, are you free this afternoon? You say, oh yeah, I am to be free. Say, oh great, can you come to this wonderful coffee shop in Lygon Street, yeah. Lygon Road. Lygon Street, yeah, supposed to be famous for coffee. Yeah, okay. I know this wonderful coffee shop in Lygon Street. So, are you free? Can you come? Well yeah. Great, because they make incredibly delicious flat whites. They're flat whites or long blacks or something. I don't know, just have a cup of coffee. Flat blacks. No, they're not flat blacks. I have a flat white. I know you don't usually like flat whites, but I do, so you're going to have one too. And no sugar, and we're going to have a biscuit, because those biscuits they have there are delicious, which actually brings me up to, I know, so we just had Wesak, but and Easter, we also had Anzac Day here? Yeah, okay. So there was the joke about, I can't resist jokes. There was the Englishman, the Irishman, the Scotsman, and the Australian. They went to a pub one evening, obviously not Buddhists, maybe they were, I don't know. And the Englishman said, "This evening the drinks are on me because my wife just gave birth to my first child, a son. And because today is St. George's Day, patron saint of the English, therefore I decided I'm going to call my son George, and the drinks are on me." And the Scotsman said, "Oh, that's really strange." He said, "Because my first son was born on St. Andrew's Day, patron saint of Scotland. So I named my son Andrew." "Wow," said the Irishman, "what a coincidence. My first son was born on St. Patrick's Day, so I called him Paddy." And the Australian said, "Well, we don't have really a patron saint of Australia, do we?" So he said, "When my first son was born, he was born on Anzac Day, so I called him Biscuit." And that's an original Ajahn Brahm joke. Sometimes I make up these jokes. I don't follow other ones. And anyway, where do I get to on this one? Oh yeah, flat white. And you have a biscuit. And we're going to sit in the back, in the corner, because that's where I like to sit. And we're going to talk about politics. None of this spirituality, meditation, Buddhism, mumbo-jumbo, none of that rubbish. This is important stuff. Politics and the economy. And I've got 1 hour, so we're going to sit there for 1 hour. And if your friend gives you a call, tells you what you're going to drink, what you have to eat, where you're going to sit, for how long, and what you're going to talk about, who wants to stay with someone like that? So she makes up an excuse. "Oh, I'm sorry, I just remembered. I got a dentist appointment this afternoon." "Oh, what a shame. Maybe next time." And you hang up. And then, because you're a Buddhist and you can't lie, you very quickly ring up your dentist to make an appointment. An emergency appointment to keep your precepts. And then after you've made the appointment, another friend rings up. And the friend says, "Oh, are you free this afternoon?" "Oh, I just made an appointment with the dentist." "Oh, that's such a shame, because I heard about your favourite coffee shop in the back streets of St. Kilda or somewhere. And he said, not many people know about that, but he said, the coffee there is just the lattes are just so delicious. And I really want to try one. And I know you always, you say the chocolate chip muffins are to die for. They're like what you must eat in heaven. They're just so incredibly delicious. So, I would like to try one too. I don't usually, and I usually like sitting in the back, but you like sitting in the front, so I like sitting in the front too with you. And I wanted to find out about this Buddhism and meditation business. I know I'm usually an atheist, not concerned about all this stuff, but it makes you so peaceful. I'm interested. Now, if somebody wants to drink the type of coffee you like, and eat what you like to eat, and sit where you want to sit, and talk about what interests you, she said, "Okay, I'll be there in half an hour. I'm cancelling the appointment with the dentist." And you sit there, and the hours go by so easily, so quickly. because you're with someone who is caring and kind to you. And time doesn't have any meaning anymore. You're enjoying talking about things which interest you, drinking coffee which you really like, chocolate chip muffins which you adore, talking about what you want to talk about. And you will find that you spend a lot of time having a wonderful afternoon. What is the meaning of that simile? So some people say, okay, time to meditate, sit down. I've got 1 hour, and we're going to we're going to do Vipassana, not your silly breath meditation. We're going to do Vipassana. This is serious stuff. Not what you want to do, what I want to do. We're going to do it for 1 hour, and you're not going to move, and you're going to do it this way and not another way, and you're not going to sit on the chair like some softy. We're going to sit directly on the concrete. We're real tough. People like that, no wonder your mind is scared of you, will run away. You're always telling it what to do and how to do it. So, but if you're with somebody, you sit here and say, "Hi mind, how are you today? Good to see you again. Hi breath, how are you doing?" And when you're so kind to your breath, what do you want to do? Do you want to go in this way or that way? And if you're kind to your mind like that, to your breath, you have this wonderful relationship with meditation. Oh, if you fall asleep, it's fine. I won't scold you, because I'm kind to you. You must be so tired. So if that was the case, if you're really so kind to your mind, of course your mind will stay with you, because it loves you. It cares for you as you care for it. And then you find there's no such thing as restlessness anymore. The mind doesn't want to escape. Who wants to escape and run away from someone who's so kind and loving and forgiving? So that's the reason why people are restless. They try and force their mind to do this and do that, instead of your mind realizing, okay mind, whatever you want to do is fine by me. And then your mind sticks with you. Me in meditation, because I have to do so many different things in my job, every time I have the opportunity to cross my legs, shut my eyes, and shut my mouth, it's like my breath and I, hey, we're back again, yeah, let's hang out together. There's no force required. It's like good friends meeting again and hanging out together, chilling out with no effort at all. So if you are restless, it means you've got a wrong attitude to your mind. You're trying to drain it, trying to develop it, trying to make it different, trying to improve it. And improving your mind means that you're not happy with your mind. You think there's something wrong with it and needs tuning up or whatever. But that's going to cause you a lot of ill will. The fellow went, I think I told this story last year, fellow went to the bookshop, went to the counter and said, "Can you please tell me where the self-help books are?" And the receptionist said, "Sir, if I told you where the self-help books are, it would defeat the purpose." Yeah. Oh, that little girl can come any time to my talks. They'll give you a free ticket to this evening's Box Hill Conflict. So this is actually just how meditation really works. We use wisdom, power, kindness, joy, and that is much more powerful than force. Being kind to your mind. So if ever you're struggling with your meditation, sometimes you ask yourself, mind, what do you want right now? Body, what do you want? Be mindful of what your body requires. And sometimes the body needs a stretch, or needs a scratch, or needs some exercise. You give it some exercise. Sometimes the mind, I just want to rest a bit. So you give your body a rest, and your mind a rest. If you work, if you work with your mind, rather than trying to control it, you'll find after a while the mind works with you. And then the mind says, wow, such a beautiful person to work with. So your body never rebels, and it actually just looks after you, and your mind looks after you as well. Have some wonderful times together in deep meditation. Never underestimate kindness in this meditation. So anyway, some comments or questions about the meditation. Yeah.
How about inner chats?
Inner chat. Okay. The inner conversation. That sometimes inner chat, it becomes like a habit. What are you chatting about? Imagine that if we could somehow get a machine, we could amplify that and can play it to everybody in the room here, what you're thinking about when you're meditating. Would you be embarrassed? My goodness, you would be. Because if you had to look at that inner chat, it's like just a bad book. Sometimes, as some monks, we can read minds sometimes. And as soon as if I said I was going to read your mind and tell everybody else what you were thinking, oh my goodness, you'd run away. But honestly, monks who can do such things, they only read a couple of minds and never again. It's like reading bad novel. Rubbish book. Quite frankly, without demeaning you, your minds aren't worth reading. Is that being honest? Yeah. So anyway, when you have an inner conversation or inner chat, just stand back from it and listen to what on earth is going on there. Why am I just chatting about this so much? And then when you detach a little bit from it, take away the emotional entanglement, then you find it's rubbish. And the simile which helps to teach other people is going. I do travel a lot, and even tomorrow I'll be going through Singapore. Tomorrow, next day or something, going through Singapore airport, just transiting there, and on the way to the next meditation retreat in Thailand. And I notice in Terminal 3 in Changi Airport that there is the sports lounge. And there when you go past the sports lounge, usually I see like recordings of Premier League soccer matches. And I see all these guys sitting in the seats, watching, maybe Manchester played Liverpool or something like that. And you see them standing out and shouting, "That wasn't a foul! That is not offside! That's not a penalty! That's wrong!" And they're shouting at the screen. And these are supposed to be intelligent people. Number one, doesn't matter how loud you shout and scream in Singapore, they cannot hear you in England. And number two, it's a recording, it's a playback. The match was over a long time ago. So all of that screaming and shouting, the emotional entanglement, it's a waste of time. But why do people do that? It's because when you're watching a movie or watching, say, a soccer match on TV, you get actually drawn in to the TV. You get entangled and involved in it, and it's like you're in the stands watching it. That's the psychology of it. It draws you in, and you're right there. The same thing happens when you're watching a movie. when you're watching a movie. The reason I know about Game of Thrones, I've never seen it, it was telling the latest results in the ABC news site. The two major things they were showing on the ABC news site was the Australian election, Indian election, Brexit, and the Game of Thrones finale. And what's real and what's fantasy? But anyway, that whenever you watch a movie, what was it that when I was a student, I went with my friends, my male friends and our girlfriends, we went to see the movie West Side Story. Anyone my age remembers that? And it had this really sad finale when Tony was the Italian migrant, was with Maria. Oh no, I think Tony was Puerto Rican. Now one was Puerto Rican, one was Italian. Both sort of refugees, really struggling to get by in life. But they met and they fell in love. It was one of these love matches which was doomed from the start. And the very end scenes, there was Maria was trying to warn the love of her life that her brother had a gun and was trying to find him and shoot him to kill him. She was trying to warn him through the streets of New York for the West Side late at night. This was in the 60s. And she finally saw him under a lamppost in the wet, the cold, and she shouted out, "Tony!" And at that was followed by the report of a gun, because Maria's brother had also found him at the same time. And Maria ran towards the love of her life, as he was dying under the lamppost in New York. And in the middle of the night, I've been in New York, and in the middle of the night, there was an orchestra. And an orchestra started playing. And instead of calling an ambulance, this stupid young couple started singing, "There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us." Call an ambulance, stupid! Peace and quiet. And I remember that because all the guys, we started laughing. This is stupid. No one just starts singing when someone's just been shot. And all our girlfriends, every one of them was crying. We So why were you crying? It's only a movie, but you get involved, you get sucked in. It really was as if they were some of the best friends of Maria and Tony. They were part of the family. And they were actually there. Sometimes they'd even shout out, "Hey, look, someone's going to shoot you." Have you ever seen people shouting at the cinema like that? "Hey, look out behind you. Alien is coming." Because you get involved. You get sucked in. And that's just with the fantasies and thoughts in your mind. You get sucked in, as if that's more real than life. And if you can just stand back, put some separation, detachment, some space between you and those thoughts, so you can actually be mindful of them without getting really entangled in them, you'll find this is going nowhere. These aren't really important thoughts. These plans, they probably will never work out that way. So you can let them go. And then they disappear. Don't get entangled. Don't get sucked in. And then you can have peace instead. The inner peace is much more powerful than all those thoughts. So that's why, why do people get emotionally involved in movies? Oh, it's so sad. Oh, it's so exciting. I wonder what's going to happen next. And I think the reason is, apparently, I mean, I may be wrong on this, but the most popular dramas these days are Korean drama. Is that right? Korean drama? Not anymore. Okay, well, apparently there were in many countries. In Malaysia, Korean drama. So, well, don't you have enough problems in your own country to worry about what happens with Korean families on the TV? It's something I've always noticed as well, that sometimes people, they have to have some drama in their life. If they don't have any drama in their life, they have a happy family and a nice group of acquaintances, that sometimes something must be wrong. So we create a drama to create some excitement. Have you ever noticed that in monasteries? You know, sometimes people go nice and peaceful, and then a drama happens. As if, people find it so difficult to live a life when everything goes peaceful and quiet. We have to create a drama. So we're addicted to dramas. Just like our great Buddhist Society of Victoria. They're a wonderful committee. And they've got a new committee introduced yesterday. And a beautiful, lovely committee. And then what happens? It goes nice and peaceful, and then there'll be a drama happen sooner or later. I think, why? No need for one. Yeah, I know, well, just gives us something to do. That psychology is interesting. The need to have a drama in life. Anyway, you can check that one out. So anyway, another question? Wow, lots of questions coming up now. Yes.
Thank you, Ajahn. How can someone use meditation to help with compulsive disorder or addiction? Thank you.
The ADHD, compulsive disorder, but sometimes by using a little bit of mindfulness and kindness. Because, first of all, the wisdom is that there's no such thing as permanent attention deficit disorder, because sometimes if you find something you really like and enjoy, you just want to do it. Sometimes by forcing yourself to pay attention to things which you don't really like doing, of course that makes it worse, a rebelliousness in the mind. So if you ask any psychologist, and of course I've worked with many psychologists, psychiatrists, neuroscientists, that sometimes we label people. And labeling is a very dangerous thing. Because as soon as you label, this is your disorder, then actually, amazing people actually become that disorder. They find out the symptoms, that's me. That sometimes that we have things like, I don't know if you believe in horoscopes, but in astrology, but sometimes I would read out someone's horoscope to them. I said, this is your horoscope. I said, well, hey, that's me. I said, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. You know that sometimes giving a gift to a monk who wants for nothing, what can you give a monk? So it was my birthday one year, and very smart, he was actually a lawyer, and he had this wonderful idea to get me an official, expensive horoscope for the next year. He knew my birthday, August the 7th, and he managed to get out of me what I thought was the time of my birth. And so he paid us I don't know how much, to get a horoscope of me read. And at my birthday celebration, he said, I paid a lot of money for this horoscope. Can I please read it out? Yeah, sure. Interesting. And it started out by saying, for anyone born on the 7th of August 1951 at this particular time, this year, it was quite a few years ago now, this year will be a very good year for romance. I'm still a monk, so I don't believe in horoscopes anymore. But you know, some people think, oh yeah, wow, and they would believe in that, and they'd go and do it. But when you give people a label, they tend to actually believe that label, and they become that label. In Opening the Door of Your Heart, I wrote the story of the 2 classes of children who were examined at the end of the year. And the results were never published. Only the principal and 2 psychologists who actually knew the real results. But these 2 classes of children, they split up equally. The child who came first, 4th, 5th, 8th, 9th, 12th, 13th, went in one class. The children who came 2nd, 3rd, 6th and 7th, 10th and 11th, went in another class. Evenly split. The principal chose classrooms with equal facilities, teachers who they thought were just equally able, everything as equal as possible except one thing. They labelled one Class A and the other one Class B. They were totally equal. But what would happen if your kid, surprisingly, because he's never done any homework, was in Class A? Wow, well done, son. I never expected that, with the laziness and the reports from your teachers, you came good on the exam. You're Class A, well done. And other kids, these poor girls who've just done so much extra homework, you're in Class B, right, no more lessons in ballet, no more going out, you are doing extra studies. So you can get back into Class A. They assumed that Class A was better than Class B. And after 1 year, they gave the exam again, and the people in Class A did exactly as you would have thought if they had been the top half from the year before. And people in Class B did terribly. They actually believed their label. They became Class B children. When I saw that result, that was scary. We label children at an early age, and they become that. Somebody labels you ADHD, Asperger's or something, and you actually live up to that diagnosis sometimes. So be careful. Careful of labels. Well, we obviously have to use those labels sometimes, but don't actually just be a prisoner of the label. That's why I sometimes say that people they have these mental illnesses, but they're not there all the time. My cough has been here all week, but it's not there all the time. When I meditate, it's not there. When I sleep, it's not there. A couple of days, it'll be gone. So I'm not a coughing monk. It's only temporary. I may have Asperger's, but it's not there all the time. So be careful of those labels. So what meditation does is meditation makes you a little bit more rebellious. You're aware and you think for yourself. You challenge. Just like a Buddha did. All the great teachers were radicals. Ajahn Brahm was a radical. He didn't do things the way other people did. That's why he was always really interesting. Breaking new ground. In a wise way. According to the Buddhist principles, even the Buddha, many people didn't like the Buddha. Taking away people from the family. But the Buddha went ahead because this was wise, this was excellent stuff he was doing. So, challenge a little bit. Anyway, another question before I spend all the time giving answers instead of listening to questions.
It's grateful to see you in Melbourne, Ajahn Brahm. I just want to ask if, before I start meditation, and sometimes if I use a Heart Sutra to start my meditation, or sometimes during my meditation, I got interrupted, and I chant a Heart Sutra, will that be okay?
If it's in the beginning, it'll be okay. If you find it inspiring, because inspiration is a beautiful way to start your meditation. I've had some of my best meditations after listening to an incredible talk by someone like an Ajahn Brahm. So inspiring, just really getting so into your heart. Afterwards, just sit down and just meditation just goes easily. Because inspiration gives you free burst of energy. Of course, it won't work for everybody, a Heart Sutra. So it's really up to you to find out what inspires you. If it may be just like the Wesak full moon, if you really get into that, see the Wesak full moon, that is inspirational, then wow, you really love that, and just see the full moon rise in the sky, you sit down, wow, close your eyes and you're just in deep meditation really quickly. So if you can use inspiration, it's a wonderful thing. You got an announcement? Okay. So it can be used, but I wouldn't use it in the middle of the meditation, because it just, any chanting and anything complicated at the beginning of the meditation, but in the middle keep it nice and simple. Simple, the better. Okay, well, there's lots of questions all over the place. Right in the back there, at the back, because they're the humble people.
Hi there. The question that I had was on behalf of my mother. Now, she's stuck in this samadhi state while she's meditating. What advice can you give her to sort of overcome that stagnant state and move forward?
Stagnant? Enjoy it.
Well, that's her words, not mine.
Yeah.
But
If it's stagnant, I doubt if it's really samadhi. It's more like dullness and sleepiness. Because if it's very still, the energies keep on increasing. You get deeper and deeper and deeper into peace. So you may be meditating and seeing just the breath, and after a while the breath vanishes. And you get this beautiful light in the mind, the nimittas, gorgeous lights, like the sun. And so often, it's not static, it's not stagnant. It gets very bright, and brighter and brighter and brighter. And sometimes happens. I have to give this warning because certainly that this happened to me. I thought I was going to go blind. It's too bright. And then you have to remember that you're seeing this with the mind, not with the physical eye. So it's no danger at all. And sometimes so blissful. But the other thing, and again, I'm not just blowing my own trumpet, as they say, but sometimes it's so blissful, you just wonder, can a human being take so much pleasure? And you can. It's a wonderful thing to know, but it actually grows. It gets, go into that bliss. You get incredible jhanas. And when you come out afterwards, hindrances are gone. There's no negativity left at all. So you can tell if it's a person's been in samadhi. I'll tell you some of my tricks. If that's your mother, and she's just exited from samadhi and said, no, people like you can't get samadhi. And I look for her reaction. And if she gets upset and angry, I said, okay, that was certain, it wasn't samadhi. But if she's nice and peaceful and kind, okay, never mind. Then I said, okay, that was samadhi. So that's actually how you know how deep it is. And so it's never stagnant, it's a beautiful state. It's powerful, really joyful. And what was it even? Amazing stuff happens. It's one of these gentlemen in Sri Lanka. He follows my teaching. Last time I saw him a year or two ago. He said that one of the students got really good at getting into the jhanas. And this teacher fellow was a doctor. So I decided to do some experiments on the fellow while he was in deep meditation. He got out a scalpel and tried to cut his arm. And the scalpel wouldn't cut. It wouldn't penetrate the skin. And I thought that was pretty weird. So the next time he said, may I have your permission next time to make an incision on your arm? And with permission, this fellow went into the deep meditation, and the doctor videoed it and just made an incision And it's obviously without anaesthetic, but with, what's it called, the antibiotics to make sure, not antibiotics, but sterilising the area. And it was just normal. He didn't flinch, didn't make any, because he was in deep meditation. And then he stitched it up afterwards, put a bandage on it, no problem. Weird stuff happens in deep meditation. So, to test whether your mother is really in deep meditation, okay.
I had another broad question, if time permits. What is your definition of happiness?
Happiness is letting go, contentment, having nothing in the whole world. The happiness of freedom. Just like sometimes people think, oh, happiness is just being able to go wherever you want, whenever you want. But happiness is not really needing to go anywhere. Happiness is not striving for something new. It's contentment with what you already have. And just see how more you can give away. It'd be simple. Happiness is peace. Other types of happiness which depend upon your ownership and control of things, your health, your reputation, your wealth and your family, those things are impermanent and they're out of control. Sometimes they will just vanish and disappear. But if your happiness just depends upon stillness and peace, that by its very nature is born of letting go. So it's indestructible.
Has anyone got a question on this side? Ajahn Brahm, what is depression according to Buddhism?
What is depression? It's low energy, low mental energy. And because we don't like depression, we just take away whatever energy is left. We don't know how to deal with it. So if you have low energy, just take a rest. Don't fight it. Don't stigmatize it. There's nothing wrong with having low energy. It's part of life. So when we don't stigmatize it, but we have our strategies, if you have low energy, just take a rest, take a break, go on a retreat. And because you don't think there's something wrong with me, then you don't fight it. You don't fight it, it soon vanishes. Very, very low energy. Sometimes it comes from the idea of controlling your body, your mind, and the world around you. And you find out you get frustrated. You get frustrated. And when you get frustrated, because you can't do what you think you should be doing, then you fight really hard. Many people do, you struggle, and that just drains the energy so quickly. And energy gets so low, you get into this dull state, and you can't get out of it. It's like a deep hole where everything is grey and dark, and nothing tastes good, nothing sort of smells good. Everything is really dull. Colours are washed out. It's all grey. How do you get out of that? Just preserve your energy. And soon it grows and grows and grows. And you float out of it. So depression is born of expecting from this world what it can never give you.
We have some online questions now.
Okay.
How does one deal with desire to commit suicide?
He says, a Buddhist, you can't commit suicide. As soon as you kill yourself, you're still there. You're only killing the body. The mind is still there afterwards, and that really sucks. You can't do anything right. So basically, it's just not really an option, because it doesn't work. So, if a person wants, usually what happens though, if a person wants to commit suicide, they don't tell anybody. They go ahead and do it. But there's a way you can find out what they're up to. which I learned and I share this. Sometimes if you're in that profession where you deal with people who get really depressed and negative in life, there's sometimes that, you're befriending them, counselling them, and then there comes a time they seem to perk up. They seem to be happy, they're smiling, they're not so depressed anymore. But be careful, because that might be the symptom that they've finally made their decision they're going to do it. So they're not worried and tormented by should I, shouldn't I. So be careful. If suddenly someone is really depressed, contemplating suicide, and then very quickly it looks like they're over it, be really careful. But there was one of the caretakers of our centre in Perth. He was a really nice fellow. He decided to find some solitude by going into a country town in West Australia. But he got depressed one day. And he got so far as to tie a noose in the shed and the chair, all set up. And he was in his caravan writing his suicide note. And as he was writing his suicide note, he had the radio on. And as the radio was on the radio, on the ABC, came an interview with Ajahn Brahm. And as soon as he heard, oh no, I can't escape from that blooming monk. And so he screwed up the suicide note, untied the noose, and he came and told us a story years later. So be careful. Good monks' eyes are everywhere. No, it's not a solution. It's only temporary at most.
And
Yeah.
I missed part of their question. Would meditation help suppress this desire?
Not suppress it, but understand it and make sure you don't act on it. So suppression just makes it worse. So don't try and suppress anything. Understand it first of all, the why. And then you can transcend it through wisdom, not through force. Suppressing it will just make it grow stronger.
And how do you know when / at what point in your practice to listen to your thoughts in meditation for more insight and clarity, and when not to?
Okay, the best time is now. Easy. Like, when's the best time to meditate? When's the worst time to meditate? Later. So if that thought comes up, then just allow it to be. In other words, it's following that, what I said very early on in this visit, the Emperor's 3 questions meditation. Now is the most important time. It's the only time you have. And the only thing to do in life is to care. And the most important thing to do is, the most important object of meditation is the one right in front of you, right now. Whatever this is right now, that is your meditation object. Whatever this is. If it's unpleasant, it's there for a reason, to teach you something. If it's pleasant, enjoy it, rest. This moment is important. And what we do with it is care for it. Be kind. Learn from it. And if you're kind to life, life becomes kind to you. If you're kind to your own body, your body responds by being kind back. If you're kind to a dog, the dog is kind back to you. You have a wonderful relationship. If you try and cure and change your husband, you make so much trouble. If you're kind and caring to him, he changes by himself. Try it out. Okay. We have one more question and then we'll have a little break and then we do some meditation to finish off. Can Can we go to 3:30?
Forgive me, Ajahn Brahm, just about that person who wanted to commit suicide.
Oh, yeah?
Do you mind if I just give a word of advice to that person? Because it is important for that person to talk to someone and ask for help if they get suicidal thoughts, because sometimes, when they talk to someone, it can help them to get over the thoughts and get help. Sometimes the suicidal thoughts are very impulsive, and they do respond to, talking to someone and getting help.
Very good.
Thank you.
Finish at 3. Okay. So, yeah, we're half an hour. I just want to finish off with a guided loving kindness meditation. Yeah. Because, sorry? Yeah. So, but if people want to have a quick stretch, first of all, we're sitting down a long time. I've stretched my mouth. Now I'm going to stretch my legs. It really depends on exactly what she... So, a nice guided loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness is like a fire. Beautiful, warm, healing. But it's starting that fire is the difficulty. So realizing this, I understood that to light a fire you start with a match and paper, something which easily takes the flame. So in this meditation I'm going to start, after just calming the body down, by choosing a little animal usually. It can be a teddy bear, a rabbit, or whatever you find it so easy to empathize with and find kindness towards, which doesn't challenge you at all. And from there we move up to to real beings, and beings who need your kindness, and eventually to all beings in this whole planet, and the planet itself, and also to you. It's a guided loving kindness meditation. Once the fire is really strong, then you can put on the wet sappy logs, and they take the flame. And of course, the wettest, sappiest log, your enemy number one, is you. To be able to love yourself is very hard. So anyway, we'll follow this in the instructions. So you close your eyes. And you bring your attention, your awareness to your body, making sure that your legs are in a good position. It's only going to be 25 minutes, so you don't have to sit for long. That your butt is comfortable on the chair or the cushion. That your back, I give it a good stretch. And all these endorphins get secreted. It's very pleasurable to stretch your body. It also relaxes it. And then relaxing the muscles in my shoulders. Making sure my hands are in a good position. My head is well balanced on my neck. My throat, I can work with you. Little cough. And my face open and at ease, not scrunched up with fear or anticipation or control. Just loose and free. Then I see my whole body sitting here. I've cared for it, paid attention to it, relaxed it. And I can relax it a little bit more. And when my body is relaxed, then I can look at my peaceometer. And quickly just relax my mind. And to realize just how beautiful peace really is. Now I start the loving kindness meditation. I imagine what I call my primary object, which usually is a little kitten. you may substitute that for a little dog, puppy, or a rabbit, or a little plant you're cultivating in your garden, a little baby, something which desperately needs your kindness, your love. My little kitten, I imagine walking in some poor part of the city and hearing this moan of hunger, fear, but not from a human being. And it calls me. And I see these two little eyes of an abandoned kitten, cowering, hiding in a dark corner, hiding in there for safety, but realizing it needs help. And I happen to be passing by, and I can't pass that by. I see its terrified eyes staring at me. And I realize whatever this creature is, it needs my love. And I soon realize it's a little kitten. I don't know when it was born, abandoned by its mother for some reason. Reached out many times for help, but being bitten and scratched, and receding into a dark hole where it's afraid, terrified, hungry. And I look into its eyes and speak to that kitten through my eyes. Dear little kitten, allow me to care for you. I'm a Buddhist monk, I won't harm you. I will care for you. I'll make sure you're protected, that you can grow and be fed and looked after. And speak to it through my eyes and realize that cat understands that I'm trying to help, but it still doesn't trust me. It's heard other people say such things and been let down. So I extend my hand slowly, and as my hand gets close to that little kitten, it draws back deep into the hole, but not totally. Still see its eyes. And I draw it out. Dear little kitten, I will never harm or hurt you at all. The door of my heart is open to you. I'll be your friend, protector, feeder. Little kitten, please allow my my loving kindness into your heart. And I imagine this little kitten's head coming out from the hole, and the first glimmers of trust. And very softly, I extend my hand far enough to touch that kitten. And I feel its fur. Felt many kittens' furs in the past, but this one is not clean. It's not like satin. It's just caked with blood. Its bones protruding. That poor little kitten has had such a terrible, suffering, painful beginning to its life. So I reach out, and the little kitten allows me to touch her and to pick her up and to draw her out of her hole. I have to be so soft, so gentle, so patient, because I realize just one jerk and that little kitten will lose its trust and run away. Very gently, I pull that kitten towards me, always keeping that eye contact. Little kitten, let me feed you, care for you, protect you, give you a nice safe place where you can grow. Allow me to look after you. The gift of love, it's not so much a gift as a privilege. We get so much back in return. And I pick up that little kitten, all dirt, scabs, bones, and just my heart melts as I pick it up and bring it to that place in my chest above my heart. And it lets me so gently cuddle it, warm it, take away its fear. Little kitten, you have a protector, a carer, someone who will never let you down. And as I cuddle that little kitten, with my warmth, warm its heart, I notice its eyes close. It rests and it purrs, probably for the first time in its life. Somehow is convinced it's safe. And as I give this loving kindness to this little kitten, on my chest area, I notice a tingling. It's a tingling which I associate with loving kindness starting to grow in my own heart. And then once that feeling of tingling is strong enough, I imagine it like a golden light, rays of light coming out from my physical heart, going through my chest into that little kitten, warming, feeding, caring for this being who needs my care and love so much in this world, who would die lonely, hungry, in pain, if it wasn't for someone like me caring for it. Dear little kitten, the door of my heart will always be open. You can run away and play, that's what cats do, but you come back and I'll always be there for you. Because I care for you. Truly. And once that golden light of loving kindness is strong, I imagine it going into that kitten's body, going to every one of its 4 little paws, to its tail, into its head and its whiskers and little ears and little nose, just drenching this little kitten with the food of unconditional loving kindness. And I know the cat feels this and rests, knowing that it will be fed and washed and be safe after. And then it's like switching the image. Then I imagine a friend, someone who's very close to you but is not here. It could be a brother or a sister, a lover, an auntie, an uncle, a child. Wherever they are right now, I imagine them as if they were standing in front of me. They have so much in common with a little kitten. They need love, forgiveness, care. It's not just with food, with respect, kindness, someone who understands them and appreciates them and is there for them. So my best friend in this world, the door of my heart is open to you. I care for you. As you spread this light of loving kindness through your chest into your closest companion in this world, spreading that warm golden light of loving kindness freely up to their heads, down to the fingertips, down their legs, throughout the whole body, up and down, healing them, caring them. Even if they're healthy, they still need your kindness. Your best friend, I care for you. And then, without opening your eyes, you imagine all the people in this room, all the people be meditating together for a while. Some of them are your close friends, relations you've known for a long time. Some you may have never seen before, here in this room together. You care for one another. Just like a little kitten, we can always take a bit more loving kindness and care and warmth. So you spread this golden light of loving kindness to everybody in this room. As they spread it to you, as this tingling in your chest like golden rays coming out, bathing every human being in this room, bathing them, healing them, reassuring them, respecting them, knowing that you're not alone in this world. Realizing that people care for you as they care for me. Sharing this beautiful, reassuring, opening the door of your heart, love. And as you receive it, and it fills your body with this beautiful golden light, so you give it out to everybody in the room. Healing, reassuring, taking away pain and fear, as it took away the pain and the fear of a little homeless kitten. Until that golden light of loving kindness built up upon, first of all, paper, kindling twigs, now can go further. As you spread it out to everybody in the neighborhood, a golden light which spreads to all the neighbors, the birds in the air, the animals on the ground or underneath the ground, all the human beings, each one just going through the suffering of life, the disappointments and the sicknesses and the joys as well. May all beings in Malvern East be well and happy. May they receive my kindness, my love, or rather our kindness and love. All the people in hospitals, sick and dying, I give you my energy which has been strengthened by a day of meditation. I care for you. You may not even know who I am. A bird in the sky, even a little animal in the ground. As you connect and warm and heal, all these people are usually afraid of one another. This beautiful golden light of loving kindness spreads through this building to the neighborhood. And the more you spread it, the stronger it becomes. So it spreads all through the suburbs of Melbourne. You have relations, friends, associates. May all beings know they're cared for. Know the people you may never suspect give you their energy, their warmth. May you be well and happy in whatever way that can be found. May you find real peace, peace in simplicity, peace in just friendship which costs nothing, peace in forgiveness which is your choice. As you spread this loving kindness way beyond the city, to country Victoria, to Canberra, to New South Wales, Queensland, Tassie, over to South Australia and Northern Territory and West Australia, where many of my monks are. But not just the monks, we're all people, all beings, all animals. I care for you. You spread loving kindness to all beings without distinction, unconditional. And the more you take away the conditions and distinctions, the more powerful that fire of loving kindness becomes, until it goes over the whole planet Earth. May all beings, animals on the ground, human beings, birds in the sky, fish in the oceans, I care for you all. May all beings be happy and well. It's as if this golden light spreads like a blanket over planet Earth, healing, caring, reassuring, all coming from your ability to care and love and be warm. And then, last but not least, imagine that you're standing in front of a full-length mirror. You're looking at your own self, the person who bears your name. You are no different than anyone else. You too, like that little abandoned kitten, need love, forgiveness, acceptance, respect. So you say to yourself, as if looking in a mirror, may I be free from pain, free from anxiety, free from guilt, free from fear. May I be at ease. May I receive my own compassion and kindness and be at peace with myself, with my past and my future and my present. As you give this golden light of loving kindness to you, spreading it up and down to the top of your head, lingering a while on your throat if you have a cough, irritation like me. I care for you, throat. Please forgive me for spending too much time talking. You help many people. Thank you, throat. To the rest of your body, to your life, to you, as you give this beautiful loving kindness, which you need as much as the abandoned kitten. You've abandoned yourself too long. You count. You're important too. When we say, may all beings be happy and well, you are included. You belong. This beautiful loving kindness goes all around you, healing, reassuring, taking away your fear. And pause there for a minute or two. And then we imagine that golden light spread over the whole planet Earth. We draw back that light, leaving the warmth. Draw it back as it recedes from the continents to Australia, as it centres on Melbourne, as it comes into East Malvern, into the Buddhist Society of Victoria's hall, into our bodies, into our hearts. It becomes like a golden ball, incandescent ball of loving kindness. And you imagine your heart like an open, white, pure lotus. And the lotus flower gently closes over the seed of loving kindness, which is there for you to be used another time, another place. So please keep your eyes closed as I give a final blessing. Nati me saranang anyang, Buddho me saranang varang, etena satchavajena, soti te hotu sabada. Nati me saranang anyang, Dhammo me saranang varang, etena satchavajena, soti te hotu sabada. Nati me saranang anyang, Sangho me saranang varang, etena satchavajena, soti te hotu sabada. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. There we go. Ooh. Thank you for suggesting to do that, because I really get off on it myself. Yeah. Ooh.
Thank
Okay.
you very much, Ajahn.
Yeah.
On behalf of all the meditators upstairs and
Oh, yeah,
everybody
I
here.
know, yeah.
So I think we all have benefited so much today. It's good to hear the reminder of the 5 wishes, the peace ometer I really love,
Yeah.
and just to be reminded too of the stillness versus concentration.
Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
I think that's enough for me. But Adrian, I'm not sure if you want to say anything. Adrian, would you like to say anything? Oh, and thank Ajahn too, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Let's thank Ajahn Brahm for spending 3 days despite of your coarse voice. And you try all your best. We hope that you have a speedy recovery. And we are certainly very, very grateful for your compassion to go through this teaching with so much joy despite of the hindrances that the difficulty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for you. And also thank you, Bhante Aranakiti, for spending the time with us too. Thank you very much.
He's been looking after me very well.
Yeah, sure. And thank you all of you for your support. It certainly did make these Vesak celebrations a very, very successful one. Thank you very much.
I'll just echo what Adrian said. You have been absolutely wonderful, helping us at the back to clear everything. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Yes, I forgot to thank very much all the volunteers too who've worked not only today but tirelessly over the last 3 days. And who'll still be working tonight.
Tonight, yes. There's always another talk coming soon. That's a Box Hill. So I'll see you there. Hello, Alfred. Excellent. Couldn't be better.
Sorry.